Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome to the 96th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-host Andrew Norman. Today's topic is faith. Can you share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you're happy to discuss this topic here today?
I would love to, Milan, and I love you, man. I love you, and I don't believe you that it's 96 already. That's something crazy, man. It's crazy.
I'm smelling 100.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of you, man. I love you. I love you very much, man. So
this
faith,
is such
man,
a beautiful thing to be part of, honestly.
It's a beautiful journey, right? It's a beautiful journey. We're getting ready to do our 100th episode here coming up soon, and it's like I really, as we reflect on it, we don't have to pop right into faith, but I really do want to just reflect on this process. This has been amazing. You know, when we first started this thing, not too long, 6 months ago? Something like
Not
that?
even, no, I guess no, 6.5 now.
That's crazy, man. 100 episodes. I remember you saying, "Hey, I just want to crank these things out because we have addicts out here that are dying every day." And I do remember when you said this to me, that's what really put a light in my behind on this thing, because I remember laying there listening to podcasts, the same podcast, for hours and hours and hours when I was really, really struggling and I didn't have any answers. And it's a beautiful thing to know that we have something out there that maybe somebody's listening to. And getting them through some hard times. It really, really, really is a special thing. And so if you're listening, if you've taken the time out to listen to this and invest some time in this and you get something out of this, thank you for being here, man. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because we put a lot of time into this.
For real.
We love you. We love you and we need you. So faith, man, faith comes into this thing hard, man, because faith in something other than us, not just a belief in a higher power, but a spiritual, deep spiritual trust in something that has to carry you through those moments that you don't think you can get through. Because as we know, man, the drugs had gotten a hold, or drugs and substances got a hold of us to the point where we could not control our best thinking process, right? Our own thinking process and best decision making got us to this point. So when I came here, I had no purpose, right? I didn't have any outline for my life. And faith, having faith is being able to take that first step without seeing the whole staircase, Milan. And faith doesn't make it easy; it makes it possible, right? And that's the opening door to whatever you want to do in the rest of your life. It's the opening door to you finding out who you are again. It's the opening door to the surrender process, having faith. And something, finding answers in the hurt, FAITH, finding answers in the hurt, right? And it's really about, we run from that fear. We have a lot of fears I'll keep it on me. I was fearful of everything, because everything was unknown to me. As I'm getting cleaned out, I don't have substances to numb all my feelings. I'm very, very fearful. I find myself in a lot of fearful places, or especially early on in this process. So I have to have faith. When you don't trust anything, you don't have faith. You know what I mean? And so when I was able to replace a lot of that fear with faith, I can move forward in this process. And so I know we're going to get into all the specifics of faith. I've got a lot of stuff written down that I was going over last night in my head, but you got to believe in something bigger than you, and having faith, finding answers in the hurt, not running from that fear, is very important. So we'll break that open. And look, hey, look.
Whoa, he's got it.
I'm actually so because I've had the faith to get clean, I've become part of, I'm affiliated with a clothing company called Faith. It's for all individuals that hustle. I'm not plugging.
How do people buy this?
Yes,
come on, put a plug up.
Go to Faith Hustle Sports, all one word, faithhustlesports.com. The first picture you see is my mug up there with, modeling our clothes. And then you'll have a lineup of all of our clothes. But if you go to faithhustlesports.com, get some stuff, grab some stuff, come see us.
I've seen him looking pretty slick on a bunch of episodes.
Got a lot of good stuff.
Right? That's right. So anybody out there, Tune it in for faith.
Tap in.
You can not only get faith in your heart, you can wear faith on your heart.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't have faith, what I say in a lot of our little commercials and stuff is, if you don't have faith, put some on your back. You might find it. Don't be scared of it.
Yeah. Woo. So yeah, man, for me, faith was, it was said to me kind of, I think in my late teens, early 20s. A friend of mine's dad, he was always professing, he said, you either have fear or faith. You're living on one base or the other. And when you really look at it, you're not really acting out of fear if you have faith, and you're not acting out of faith if you're acting out of fear. There's a lot of truth to that simple statement. And shout out to Joe for that little pearl of wisdom 40 something years ago. But the only faith I had at the end of my addiction was that I was probably going to die. Like, really, and most of my actions were driven by fear. I came into this program with a belief of a universal energy, but I was a godless bastard at that point. And there has been multiple growth areas of growth inside my program that have brought me to a position of my own personal faith, which the beauty of this program is that we can have. And I like one thing is, faith is not a destination. It's a constantly evolving process. Oh. And for me, honestly, sometimes it changes on a day-to-day basis. Like I have spurts where there's massive changes, and then I kind of have periods of busy reliance on that faith that just gets me through the day, where, it appears like nothing's grown, but yet has it? Because there's probably more reliance in those moments. Like as that reliance grows, it's actually secretly building my faith, right before my very eyes. Okay, we're going to get into some questions. You want to start the questions off, Andrew?
Yep. I'm going to start off with the easy one. What does faith mean in your recovery today?
Oh, okay. Faith means in my recovery, first and foremost, the very thing that I think I have the greatest faith in is that if I repeat my program today like I did it yesterday and the day before, I'm not going to die today. I'm going to be alive. I'm going to be straight. And I'm not saying that to throw a wild card in the face of like just for today or we only got another 24. But the reality is that it's coming to prove itself to me that my problem is now me and not a substance sitting in front of my face. There's a lot of strength and hope in the phrase that we do recover. Like you read that at every meeting. And I'm telling you right now that there's been a level of recovery that's happened in me, that I don't crave it, I don't think about it, I don't ruminate on it. When I see it, I actually kind of usually feel sorry for someone. Like and not in a bad way, but if it's controlling their life, for certainly I'm having some, some feelings of hope or something for them, kind of saying a prayer in my heart that they're going to get some sort of relief. And so, first and foremost, I believe, in this program, and I think that I'm going to be remaining straight as long as I continue and continue growing in this program. I do believe in the idea that it's not just maintenance, we want to get to a level of contentment in our lives, but also have a discomfort that pushes us towards growth, and I want to remain a seeker. And I feel that I do that. My natural inclination in this program is to discover and more. And when I go to meetings, it's like, boom, somebody says something, and that's a little rabbit hole down direction. Boom, we have Tom on the podcast. Boom, changes my whole life. And then Andrew from all his meetings comes in and he talks to me, and then I'm like, whoa, okay, different interpretation. And then you get Mikey, drop the mic, he come in saying stuff, and then you got like the eternal wisdom of JJ coming on, boom, there is just there's so many wonderful examples I have of recovery that aren't mine, that I'm in a constant state of evolution with it. So, I have faith that I'll never learn everything there is about life. That's for sure. I have faith about that. And
you never stop learning.
I'm just going to take 2 minutes right now because I want to just say this for everybody out there. But for me, I had a really hard time coming in with the God idea. And I'm a songwriter, and I've always had this kind of energy connection with people, and especially some people that I'm really close to in my life. I do believe that my songs come from this universal energy, which I would call like the universe, which I actually do call the universe. Anyway, not which I would, I do. Um, I'm a conduit for these songs. And it came to my awareness early on in my treatment center when people were talking about faith. First of all, I saw that it really comforted them to have their faith. And I thought that's a pretty wonderful thing. And then I realized that I had faith for the universe and like a higher power for my songs to come to me. But I did not have faith to save my own life, which
Yeah,
shows
wow.
which shows like really that I had gotten to a point where my life was almost valueless to me. My life was worth less than a song, you know? And
Wow.
once I started using that universal energy as my higher power, miracles started happening in my life. And I think I'm going to leave that there because I think the questions will unfold more about that later.
Well, that's
And
beautiful, man. It's
yeah,
beautiful. That's a great way to like think about that. Like, it changed things and maybe spun a different chord in your head where you started thinking about things differently. We're like, man, I love these songs. And the songs keep me alive, but I don't even give a shit about myself right now.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, I'm thinking about this overall energy that I'm getting from these songs, and I'm getting some motivation, and I'm getting everything I need to without even thinking about it. Right? You're all spiritual and all that shit, but then you don't even think about yourself when it comes to those thoughts.
I'm thinking
It's
about
wild, isn't
creating a
it?
song more than saving my own life. Like
You think about
that's
creating a
literally what hit
song
me.
more than like brushing your own teeth.
More than keeping my heart beating.
It's crazy. That's why.
Yeah,
Look, this is a mental disease, man. This is a mental disease, right? We can talk
absolutely.
ourselves out of this thing, though, man. You got to have faith. If you stay faithful, man, that fear is not going to cripple you. We're gonna have fearful things happen. Fear is gonna happen. If we're not fearful of things, we're not trying new things. You said something. Trust the process, right? You said something that was close to that. But you got to trust the process. All these little slogans that we come in here, you got to have faith that like that shit. They're like these old OGs are saying that stuff for a reason. Having faith allows me to navigate challenges, right? Like challenges are going to come up, Milan, and as we get clean and we don't have these drugs to cancel those emotions, um, we're going to start going downhill mentally, right? If we don't have something to foster healthy living, right? Which we have to believe in something bigger than ourselves. We have been being I've been my own God for too long. I've been running around here just fucking not living by anything but like the drugs equal my life. So now I have faith, man. I have humility in my life. We talked about that the other day on the process. I have a sense of purpose and meaning. Faith can give individuals a meaning, a purpose to get through your struggles, a reason to get through your struggles. It'll calm your nerves when you're in that spot of wanting to run the fuck away. It gives you hope. I got hope from having faith. It's the precursor to hope. Hope can provide strength and perseverance to overcome obstacles. Because, bro, I've run into so much shit that I've gotten clean, man. But and like you said, the drugs aren't the problem. I'm the problem because I still have problems dealing with those issues. I actually have more problems dealing with those issues now that I'm getting clean because I
Because
don't.
you're actually aware enough to look at them.
I'm aware. I'm aware. And then when I make a decision, I'm like, fuck, why did I act like that? Or in the middle of me doing it, I'll be able to stop. But I feel like, but it makes me feel like that, like an asshole, man. But again, I'm not on drugs. I'm doing the right things. You know what I mean? I have all these spiritual principles in my life, and I love people today. I have these things that I'm creating. I'm not perfect though. I'm not perfect. But as long as I stay faithful, man, I can grow. I can continue to grow and stay in that grateful lane, man. I've been ungrateful for 20 plus years, just using drugs, killing myself. So now I have to have faith in something that's going to keep me alive. That's a God of my understanding. That's my network. You're part of that network. My roommates, and I stay tapped into this program, man. I cannot adapt the program to my life. I have to adapt my life to the program completely. And people will let you down. You can't have faith in people. Like, you can't have faith in people, but the ultimate faith that you have to have is in something bigger than you. You can't just have faith in your sponsor. You can't have faith in your group and network. Like, you can have faith in the group. The group can be bigger than you, but you got to have faith that something can pull you out of this thing, man. Because if you found these rooms, you're an addict. Welcome home. But like you fucked up to get here. Right, we went through some shit. If you're here, you're not here because you were playing Candyland with your mother, and then you just popped into these rooms, right? You're not. That's not how it goes. We did some shit to get here. So, pass that to you, Milan.
Woo! Man, we're already sizzling on this. I'm loving this. Okay, faith often begins not as certainty, but as a willingness to believe that something greater might be possible. What was the first small moment that gave you hope that recovery could work for you?
That's a great question. That's a really, really good question.
For those of you out here, everyone's going to have a different one. So don't feel bad if it's not the same as me and Andrew's.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because everybody's going to have their own ideas. Obviously, we're just giving our own opinions and our own experience with these things. So look, working the steps, man, is when I really, really started to take that faith and apply it to my life. We worked step 1, 2, and 3, right? And then I hit that step 3, and that was a turning point for me, Milan. What does it say? We make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. That's taking a leap of faith, right? That is the biggest leap of faith that we can take in this process, right? That's actually, step 1, 2, surrendering, identifying, and now we got to turn it over in step 3. I thought I was built, it was kind of like step 1 and 2 were building that little bit, the little step 1 of faith, step 2 of faith, and then step 3 is where I really got to jump off that bridge and be faithful that y'all are going to catch me when I fall, man. That he is going to catch me. The God of my understanding, who I choose to call God, is gonna catch me, man. And that took a lot of faith, Milan. Step 3 takes a lot of faith. And if you work step 3 properly, when you come out on the other side of that, getting ready for that step 4, bro, you got, you talk about super soaker full of love and humility. Your super soaker gets full of faith, man. You got to have a lot of faith to get through that step 3. And then I was really excited to hit step 4 when I first went through it. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of people that I heard stop before step 4, maybe leave the program or something like that because they found a God or whatever. But it's crazy to me because I was eager to work that step 4. Yeah, it's like a mountain to climb, but I was super, super stoked to work it. Then when I got through you get through step 4, that takes faith right there. Step 4 and step 5 to get out all your pain, resentments, fears, secrets, right? To be vulnerable, to have faith in somebody else, to tell everything that you've done, like all that grimy ass shit you've been through. Faith to face myself opened the door to freedom for me, right? And freedom arrives at my doorstep in the form of choices. Man, I got a choice because I didn't use drugs today. And I'm in a Just for Today program, man. So I got that shit squashed just for today. I'm going to be all right with that. I'm going to go to sleep clean. I'm going to wake up clean. You know what I mean? And if I feel like using drugs, I say this a lot in my meetings. If you feel like using drugs, go to sleep. And you don't have to go to sleep at midnight. You can go to sleep at 2:00 in the afternoon. You'll wake up clean. Think about that. Go to sleep. Don't use drugs. Get in a meeting or go to sleep, man. Call your sponsor. I love you, Milan. I didn't mean to be preachy at the end there.
I didn't feel that it was preachy. So
I love you.
Faith often begins as uncertainty, not as certainty, but as a willingness to believe that something greater might be possible. What was the first small moment that gave me hope that recovery could work for me? I would have to say, obviously, that the steps have been the vehicle to faith for me, like Andrew said. But, it was step 1. It was step 1. After 37 years of the hamster wheel of my addiction going on and surrendering, and that stopping, like stopping dead in its tracks, and that mental space that I had to reclaim, that speck of silence that grew into a garden of serenity. Like it was so profound. It was like I was in a techno party and someone just shut the music off. And do you know how deafening that silence is in that very moment? Like I've been out to big raves where the generator dies and you don't realize how intense things are until that stops dead. And you're almost like, whoa, I'm still hearing music because it, and
Yeah, man.
for me, the surrender was that. And once I had that taste, man, it was like I was hungry for the steps like a bear. Like, man, if you haven't seen me hungry, you wait till you put me at a table after like doing carpentry all day or something. Like I'm just like, get out of my way, I'm gonna eat. And I was like that with the steps. I was like, man, the surrender shit's delicious. How about giving me a little faith? Like it was like this, man. It was like zero faith to faith, like zero faith to like I got this. Oh, look at that! It makes this little golden thing when I do it. I spy with my. Oh my god, am I ever gonna have fun with that in the future on the show? Whoa, let's peek out right here. Whoa, okay. Anyway, that was me
That's
being
funny.
silly.
I love you,
Anybody who's
man.
just listening audio, you missed a pretty funny effect there.
Yeah,
But
you did.
uh,
Rewind.
rewind. Let's
Slow
peek
motion.
down.
Slow motion. Rewind.
Okay.
There's Rob Blashu.
It all starts with surrender.
Yes, it
It all
does.
starts with surrender. And as far
Say it
as I
again.
can,
Say it again.
it all starts with surrender. It all starts with surrender. And as far as I can see, that's probably how it's going to end too. Think about the last moment of your life. If you're going to die peacefully, it's going to be with surrender. Surrender is the bookend, it is the bookshelf, it is the content of life. You know, you
With a little
want
bit of
some.
love. A little love in there. Look, love starts it. Come on. We
I
wouldn't be here without love.
absolutely, absolutely. Like, but all I'm saying is that, man, for me, I would have no freedom without surrender.
I
I would
agree.
have I would have no freedom without surrender, and then honestly, I still would have been incapable of loving. Like I wasn't truly
Hey,
loving. I wasn't truly loving
I hear
when I
you.
wasn't surrendering, man. I was trapped in my own self-centeredness, man.
Love that. I love that,
Yeah.
man. I love that. That's why I love this process. I love these talks. I love this platform. I love everything about it. You ready for my next question?
Yeah. I'm ready.
How has faith in a higher power evolved since coming to NA in the fellowship?
Okay, so like I said, I had my universal energy for my songs. I'm gonna close my eyes, I almost can picture it kind of golden, and it's up high. It's up higher, like higher my hands can reach. Kind of maybe around where the northern lights kind of show up on the planet, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now it is evolved into two words: the universe. For me, it is literally the universe. Like, and you know what? I don't like anybody who might have a god. Their god is probably the entire universe. I just want to call it that, only because of my own stigmatisms. But it's something now that I find myself able to see the beauty of, to feel the energy from, and to be able to communicate with on a regular basis now. And that just didn't happen before. It's something that I'm learning to make sure I express my gratitude in all situations too, because no matter how shitty my moment, like I'm still walking, I'm still breathing, I'm still alive. I'm sure there's people who've died of diseases and in their last breath just wish for one more day. And we got that.
Yep.
That's I'm
Love that,
leaving
man.
that there.
I love that, man. I love that. So, how has faith evolved since coming to NA? Man, I had faith in God in general as a kid growing up, and obviously when I started doing drugs, as I've learned now, when I'm doing drugs, I'm not tapped into anything spiritually or anything bigger than myself. I'm just tapped into the drugs. So it's really went from an unhealthy lie that I'm telling myself to a complete overhaul. I have faith every day, man, that I'm gonna wake up clean and God's gonna wake me up when He sees fit, right? And He's gonna let me go to sleep when He sees fit. And then in between there, He might be throwing me my self will as He sees that I need a little bit of testing, but I throw it right back to Him, man. I pray it right back to Him. I say that a lot on here, man. I have I have a renewed sense of purpose and meaning. I find meaning in my struggles today. and I'm able to develop a positive outlook for the future. You know, I have hope, resilience, you know, to get through those obstacles and maintain abstinence from drugs, man. I don't have to use drugs through my hard times because I'm still having hard times, Milan. I talked to you about some of them. You call me about some of yours. It's what we do. It's what normal people do when they have a problem. They go talk to people. The quickest way out of my head is a simple conversation, either with my God or with my guys or gals, right? And God speaks through people. It says that in our literature too. I knew that a long time ago, that I was hearing messages through y'all's voice, because it's just how I would hear it. It would ring on my head through people's voices, whether it was in real time or when I'm laying there in bed and something hit me. I would, you know, whether it's my mother's voice, I just heard my God speak through people. Because it says in my literature, Milan, that I'm born a spiritual being. We're all born spiritual beings. You know, I'm looking to tap into something spiritually, and part of doing that is having faith, and having faith, man. And again, like I said earlier, man, faith does not make this thing easy, right? This is not an easy process, but faith makes it possible. And before I got here, this was not possible. Me not using drugs for 24 hours was not possible before I got here. That was an insurmountable task in my head, and everybody that knew me's head around me. They were like, you know, I was done. I was cooked. I came here and I got it. God of my understanding. I had faith, man. I had faith that what y'all were telling me was real. That y'all were full of shit. Because when y'all said something, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. You know, I wasn't running for an excuse, man. Yeah, at the beginning we are, but God forces us to be here in whatever way, whether there's the courts, our family, whatever it is. But I started feeling something when y'all talked, man. When y'all said something, it wasn't like, man, these guys are fucking full of shit. No, y'all read all these readings, and I'm like, every time, why? You know, my God's got me here, so I'm trying to tap into why. But I still don't understand why you hear all these readings, and it's beautiful now looking back at it, because it takes time to understand the process of these meetings, and to understand why they're reading readings, why they're doing things a certain way. But lean into, if nothing else at the beginning, that feeling that takes over your body when you get into these rooms and you find some kind of yeah, me too. Man, when you come into that room and you get that initial me too, and you start getting that feeling, someone comes on and shares your story. Talk about faith. That feeling that you have in your body when you hear your story for the first time, when you're sitting in these rooms, you don't even know why you're here. You're sitting in these rooms, you hear it. You hear the key to your story, man. Bro, that's faith. Lean into that feeling, because you can get that feeling every day if you walk into these rooms. You walk into this podcast, you listen to these podcasts. If you're in a spot to hear it, bro, you're gonna feel it. And it's not about coming in and forcing yourself to feel something or forcing yourself not to do. Yeah, you got to do that. But this is about learning. This is about flipping the script here, man. It's about flipping the script. I don't have faith in drugs, man. I got faith in God, you know, in that I'm not gonna use drugs today, and I'm gonna get through. It doesn't matter what comes across my plate, man. I have the confidence that I've been through hell, so there's nothing that's gonna come across my plate I'm not gonna be able to get through. And if I fail, it's because God doesn't want me to be there right then, right? He's got something on the other side of it for me. And I'm going a little longer just because it's us two today. So we're just feeling, you know,
I
just
wasn't
going
feeling
long,
that you were going too long.
I
So
love you, man. I love you, man. And you know, faith is extremely huge, man. So that's how it's kind of evolved for me. It's changed completely, tenfold.
yeah, it's not even the same thing. It's like,
Nope.
goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, hello.
Bye.
And I think it's going to change my whole life. You know, from here on out, as I delve further and further in this process, I can't see it not changing.
Yeah.
It's changed in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Out of 19 months, like
Surrender.
it's probably going to just, but also that, you know, the remaining grateful in all moments, and you know, using gratitude as a prayer as well. Like, man, that has really had some miraculous changes in my faith.
Grateful addicts don't use, man. I know it seems really cliche and stupid, but a grateful addict doesn't use. And you think about this, Milan, there's no amount of like regret. We feel all this regret and all this pain from like the past. There's no amount of like regret that we're feeling that's going to change all that shit at all, right? It's not going to change. And there's no amount of like anxiety you're feeling towards what's going to happen next week or what's not going to happen, the job or whatever. All that anxiety you're feeling right now, it's not going to change what's going to happen. But like any amount of gratitude changes right now, right? So stay
Absolutely
grateful right now. Love you.
The seed of faith is planted when we admit we can't do it alone and watered every time we ask for help. How has surrendering control opened the door to a deeper sense of trust?
Well, a deeper sense of trust because we're all rowing in the same boat here, right? So I came in here to piggyback on what I've been saying. I got this initial jolt of faith when I got here, and so being able to trust what y'all are saying became easier as A, I got off drugs, and B, as I'm hearing y'all say the same kind of things every day, right? And then like y'all would come in and some people would struggle, but there's an overall message, not a mess. There was an overall, and the messes, I had to hear those too, Milan. You got to hear those messes to be thankful for those other shares and the other moments in these rooms too. Because faith, man, you gain that faith from all of it. It's the whole package. So when I came in here, being able to trust, I have major trust issues, Milan. That's one of my main things. I think you've heard me say it on here before. I have major trust issues. And even with my relationship now, she knows that. And so being able to, put down that bat, pick up a feather on myself, and really take it easy on myself and it's knowing that I have a trust issue. I've got to clean out and do a little work on myself and have the willingness to look at myself honestly and go, man, you got trust issues, and now how are we going to fix them? While staying clean, while not feeling these emotions too tough to go out there and use, while trying to maintain that upward trajectory, right? While trying to show face for my family, while trying to get that new job, right? There's a lot of shit that we got going on. If I don't have faith in there holding that shit together, man, I'm apt to flying off the handle a little bit and going back to my old way of thinking. Right. It's hard to break habits. And when you've been doing something over 20 years, 30 years, in your case, fuck, man, it's so hard to break those habits because it becomes a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle from the time we go to sleep to the time we get up. Not only that, it becomes physical, right? When we use drugs every day, there's a physical aspect to that I think people that don't use drugs don't understand. I'm talking about everything that has to deal with physical, sleeping, waking up, bowel movements, eating properly at the right times, eating enough, sleeping, drinking enough, hydration. Our bodies aren't running, it's like an engine that never gets an oil change. And not only that, maybe it's sitting in a really, really polluted place that with a lot of things that really degrade the engine, right? Like we're just we are dirty from the inside out with the drugs, man. And that inhibits us to tap into anything. When we come in here, we start getting clean. We're eating it. We're sweating it out. We're doing all that to get all that stuff out. Cause a lot of times it's like in our bones, this disease and the substances get in our bones and our bone marrow sometimes. Right. And so that's why there's all these maintenance medications that help us step down from because you can't just stop using drugs. A lot of times we'll have a seizure and die, sometimes it just happens. So this thing is full circle, man. It's not just like, hey, our minds are going to stop using drugs and now we get to tap into something spiritually. This is like a mental, physical, and spiritual disease, and having faith, holding that all together really is an important ingredient, man, in the mixture with all that other stuff we talk about. So pass that to you, bro.
Love that. The seed of faith is planted when we admit we can't do it alone and watered every time we ask for help. How has surrendering control opened the door to a deeper sense of trust? Well, first of all, no surrender equals no potential to feel trust. Like if I'm just trying to run the show and stay in itself and all that, I am absolutely exhibiting zero trust in the universe, in life itself, and in other people, in my higher power. Like, I mean, I just have no faith that the universe can run without me correctly, you know? And that was like, that was a big problem of mine, was that, man, there were so many strings I was trying to hold and pull like a puppeteer that it was just eventually weighed me right down to a crippling mess, you know? And, now really moving towards surrendering my defects as well as my addiction, it's opening up a whole new level of trust that I don't have to be the one to fight all this. I'm not alone in this fight. I'm not alone in actually the moments to moments, like we're all needing help. We're all needing that surrender, even just for our own sanity. And so trust is something that's built by, like, I like to say that I offer trust initially, and then it either gets broken or it gets reinforced and reinforced and reinforced and reinforced and reinforced. So my trust in my first surrender was awesome, but there was some part of me that was like, I'm pretty sure he's too busy for my anger, or 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 just that it wasn't a priority to the universe, like I needed to do this. I was lacking a fundamental trust there. And it really has been through a process of trust and faith building. Like, I could say trust, but that trust is also could be almost synonymous to faith in that
Yeah.
moment. You
Yeah.
know, um, uh, trust is maybe something that I offer up front, and faith is just something that I kind of think I carry inside or something like that.
Yeah.
Like once once I have a certain level of faith in something, like I was saying earlier about my program, like I have a really fundamental faith on that right now. Like I'm not getting shaken in my potential for substance at all in so long. And I'm not saying I'm unshakable. There's a reason why I show up and do my shit and go to my meetings every day. And there's a reason I do all that, because my program's working. Not because I'm done my program. I'm done, man. I'm fucking better. Man, that was like famous last words of a friend who just relapsed recently. Like, he's like, I think I've cured myself. And then he had a relapse and he's like, and I was just like, yeah, okay, not me. And I'm gonna leave it there because I don't think I'm better. I don't think I'm ever getting better. I think I think I'm enjoying who I am more though. I
Yeah.
think I'm enjoying who I am more. And to be quite honest, I'm actually really liking my life in the program. I'm liking the friends I have. I'm liking the family it's building. I'm liking the person it's making me. And there's not a single thing about my growth that I want to change except for like more. But I've
Yeah.
always been a more.
And look, you can, and that's not forced, right? You can look at you and watch the way you handle yourself, and we don't have to like ask you where you're at. Like you're in a good spot, right? The dude's doing all right, right? And that's a whole different attitude from like not looking people in the eye and walking around with your head down and like wondering what they're thinking about us and people pleasing our ass off constantly to get those drugs. Like that shit is no way to live, man. That shit is no way to live. And so yeah, having faith in this process is pretty special. I'm gonna ask you a question now.
Yeah,
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Let's what is it? And what this is the one I wanted to ask. I got a bunch of, but this is the one I wanted to ask this time. How do faith and service go hand in hand for you?
Woo. Well, okay.
Hmm.
I have faith that this program needs service. My program needs service. Like me sharing my recovery with someone else is an essential part of my program. I have 100% faith that the circle of service inside this program is one of the major contributors that keep us straight all the time. It says in the literature, the greatest immunity is offered by helping another addict or alcoholic. And I 100% believe that. There is no moment, like I believe that this program is designed to remove us from self. And so that removal of self is literally like when they're talking about living in God's will, it's like, how can I be of service today? That's supposed to be one of the first prayers and things you say every single morning. Like, why? Because when we sit in ourselves, like that's a bad
Love.
place. We are like bus drivers who have danced all over the side of the bus, like rear end people at every intersection.
No
Like
bueno.
no, like we need to get on a bus with a bus pass. We don't
Driving
need
around
to.
with your eyes closed, like just
We're just like,
driving.
man, we're going to the mall.
I don't care the sound. I think we're in the right place.
I swear the mall's over here. But
Uh,
but but so the service is the exact vehicle that will help us to remain straight. And my faith in that, like, I want to be of service to the universe. You call it your God, I'll call it my universe, but I want to be in the service to the universe. Why? Because I know right in here that when I'm doing that, I'm doing the right thing. I don't have to second guess when I'm helping somebody else if I'm at all doing the right thing. There is not a second of that where I've ever been like, man, this step work with this sponsee, I think I did the wrong thing. I think I'm hurting someone
I feel
I
terrible.
think I'm hurting someone by helping explain surrender.
I need to call my sponsor and talk to my sponsor about what we just talked about in the step work.
Did I do the? Do you think I should not work with the sponsee because he's still alive? Like, give
Kept
me
him
a break.
alive. I was on the phone all night with him last night, and I helped him out stay clean. Should I not talk to him anymore, Spons?
Yeah,
Crazy, man. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I
The-
think service and faith, man. Woo.
Bro, it's everything. It's everything. So I'll kind of roll right into
Yeah,
it. But you mentioned so many good things, man. We need service. I heard something. I think it's like 10% of members do all the service in our fellowship. It's something like that. So it's like people who have guns own multiple guns, right? Whoever does service does all the service. And now that I look at it and I've heard that and I've had a chance to reflect on that, it is true. It is true. The people that are of service are service beasts, and the other ones, they come and go, but it's about staying in the herd, right? Staying in the middle of the pack and not falling off the edge, man. And service work keeps you firmly planted in the middle. Because when you're of service, you have no choice but to learn a little bit of the traditions. The traditions are very, very important. It's what keeps the whole thing together here. Yeah, we're trying to survive as individuals, but if the group doesn't survive and last, there's no way we can make these meetings and be able to get the clarity that we need on a day-to-day basis, that clarity to reflect on the process. I come in these meetings and I get peace enough to for that period of time to reflect on my process, and remain faithful. Service work is one of the purest expressions of faith for me, man. When I serve, what I'm doing is I'm trusting that my time and my energy and my presence are being used for something bigger than me. I know that for a fact. When I'm of service, I feel different, Milan. When I say I feel different, I don't feel like a drug addict anymore at that point. When I'm of service to myself, or I'm of service to the community, or this fellowship, or just to another individual, I'm out of my own head. We had Mikey on here talking about brotherhood the other day. He, for 2 hours, was able to unthink about his situation, and it got him out of his head. And you know what? I'm doing a follow up on that. Mikey has since left that job and gotten his old job back with his old boss, and he's loving. He's back to just loving his life, kind of.
yes.
Yeah, it's a totally different Mikey.
Out
So
of
when we
the
see him in here,
tiger.
we would have had him on today, but he had to work today. Going back to that other job, and I talked to him for a long time last night. So service work, right? Reminds me that I'm part of something spiritual, something sacred. I come in here and I have a sense of self-purpose, self-worth when I'm of service. And it's not about cowering down and giving all my time because I'm less than. No, this is about empowering myself to do something outside of my comfort zone and get used to being in a social setting, maybe in a controlled environment. So I'm apt to go get that new job, Milan. Because I believe it matters. Service matters. I don't know a lot of people that don't get in service that I surround myself with that stay clean long term. Are you with me? Like people that don't do some kind of service, whether it's in person, whatever it is, just some kind of little service to this community.
I believe
It,
you got to live the service. Like, I just feel like everybody out there, Milan's opinion is that service starts at home. Service starts at home, and like fine and dandy having service in your program, but you're like a two-faced liar if you're not living it everywhere. If you're not opening the door for that lady with the bag who's struggling, if you're not offering to help somebody when you
yeah.
see they need help, that's not
Yeah.
living a life of service.
No. I agree. And what goes around comes around, guys. Like if you open that door for that lady, maybe when you're in traffic, you'll be able to get that lane that will get around traffic. Like there's like you put good out, good comes back to you. I firmly believe that every time when I'm
You
doing
reap what
good,
you sow.
you reap what you sow. What you put out there comes back full circle, man. You become what you believe. You know, your words are your focus. So these things that we're talking about and the things that we do and the acts that we take on a day-to-day basis are a direct reflection of our faith and of who we are as people, as individuals. Like, do you want to come across as an asshole, or do you want to come across as a guy who's got some humility and has been there before and nothing's gonna shake you? You know what I mean? Because look, we've been to hell. I've been to hell, Milan. I've been there. You've been there.
I've been right to the gates
They
of it.
they don't have a heavens band with your hearth up there. Like here, Milan, it's the one that you've been waiting for your whole life, right? This is the one you've been just killing yourself for. Look, we've got
There
it
was
for
no
you.
instrument at Hell's Door. Okay, there was not like I would.
Silence.
Yeah, it was cold, dark, silent, hell.
Silence. There's no fruity pebbles.
I don't like fruity pebbles. So
okay. Well, everybody else does. So there's no
everybody
fruity
being
pebbles.
you.
Everyone in the world except you. All right, we'll have another podcast on that another day. Yeah, man.
Cereal preferences.
Look, I almost started my own YouTube page, and I have people still telling me I should because I get dehydrated marshmallows so that every bowl of cereal that I have in any cereal is Lucky Charms to me. Seriously, I have them sitting right over there in my room. All right, so with that being said, service. This is a good episode. I love it. I'm having fun today. Look, service is faith in motion, right? It's trusting that if I'm giving of myself to bless others, that I'm going to ultimately be blessed in the end. Right? I put out there what I want to receive, man. You got to do unto others what you want to have done unto you. And you don't want people to be an asshole. You don't want people to cut you off. You don't want people to like hurt you and touch you, like be in your personal space. So don't do that to other people. It'll help you remain tapped in and being faithful, right? And being able to surrender that thing, right? Because we got to out surrender this thing, Milan. We talked about it a lot. We got to out surrender this thing. So faith allows me to be of service to the group, to myself, which ultimately keeps me alive on a day-to-day basis, man. Because my disease ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. But I can live with it, and I can die with it, not because of it. And I don't need to go out of this world on drugs, but I can die a clean individual, you know, with several decades clean. Like my sponsor comes to these meetings every single day. Got to hear the message, man. I know I'm in the right place. So I'm going to keep coming back because I'm faithful. I love you.
Ooh. Okay, Andrew. So faith grows not through answers, but through experience, one day at a time, one miracle at a time. Can you recall a time when something happened that felt like more than coincidence in your recovery?
I'm engaged.
Look, yeah.
And I've been bored. Look, I don't have any kids, I've never been married. Through my addiction, I have closed myself off from those avenues, whether it be, and I thought I was going to have a kid, but it ended up not being mine, which was a big issue in my active addiction, right? It kind of turned the things really south for me, but it got me to these rooms. I was sleeping with married women a lot. I don't know. It was like I had a magnet on my head when I was walking around, and I was just, the work that I was doing put me in a position where I was dealing with those type of individuals. Again, it doesn't make an excuse, but I'm making up for it now. I'm making up for it now. I've done the right things. I have had gosh, I hate to kind of go off on this thing, but I've had women approach me in these rooms a lot, a lot. And bro, because I've been tapped in and I know that staying clean must come first. This is the God honest truth, man. I have turned down until I was ready. I have in a healthy, systematic way put my expectations out there and my boundaries out there every time it's hit my table. And I've done it whether I've been of service and somebody's trying to hit me up, like I do it in the proper way. And I've heard a lot of people's feelings, a lot of women's feelings in these rooms. And that's okay. Cause look, I just got 3 years clean and I just got engaged. So like I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm in a more faithful spot. I've never been at this point in my life, man, where I'm like healthy, knowing that I have a plan and I have a roadmap to the rest of my life. Bro, I have faith. I have I have trust that whatever's coming is meant for me. Because I'm leaning into my program today, Milan. I have ultimate faith that I'm going to persevere through anything. And why is that? Because I've been to hell. Talked about it earlier. I've been to hell. I don't want to go back. And I know that regardless of with all the house, the car, the money, the shoes, all that shit, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. As long as I stay clean today, man, I have a choice. Freedom arrives at my doorstep in the form of choices every single morning. Milan, gotta stay free.
Boom.
To be faithful and to have faithful, I gotta have choices. And if I have choices every day, I can have that choice to A, not use, and B, come hang out with you and stay super faithful, which is what I choose to do. And I love you.
Love you too, brother. Okay, faith grows not through answers, but through experience. One day at a time, one miracle at a time. Gosh, that's like my story right there. Can you recall a time when something happened that felt like more than coincidence in your recovery? Well, okay, so let's rewind to October 16th. I was sitting in treatment in 2023. I was struggling with the concept of a higher power. I was struggling with the idea of faith. And what becomes the topic that morning? Faith. It was literally like I had just done my step one. I was absolutely at this wall. And then comes the topic of faith. There was 6 other people there sharing, and the first 4 went through, and for whatever reason it didn't really even phase me at all. Like I wasn't in I started, like, I was just kind of spiraling in my own head, like, whoa, it's about faith kind of right here, like, I was already like, this seems really kind of synchronistically weird and whatever. And but then it got to like the 5th person, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't know him now well enough and haven't kept in contact. I don't want to break his anonymity, but he was a very religious person. And I could see in his face the, I would go, maybe relief or contentment or the ease that existed because of his faith. Like it was an observation I remember making, and I was like, it looks really relieving to feel the faith that he's feeling, and I actually, like, I'll be honest, I felt a moment of envy for that. Like I was like, wow, like he's really,
You wanted it.
I wanted it. I wanted it, and I wanted it, and it looked good. And then, you met young Gabriel a couple times on the
Mm-hmm.
meetings and that, and young Gabriel was next, and he was talking about his faith. And it was kind of during young Gabriel's talk about his faith and how it was growing inside his program, that I had that epiphany about my own having faith in a higher power for a song, but not for me. And
Yeah.
I truly don't think that that moment was coincidence. I don't think it was coincidence that I needed faith. The topic faith comes up. That the last 2 people who were talking before me, you know, have these, different, much like they were not the same, those two. But what I saw from the first person before Gabriel was the benefits of faith. Like it showed me directly the benefit of faith. And then, there was Gabriel, who was an example of I didn't have it, but it grew in me. And that was a big thing. Like, I didn't have to have it all at once. And that was a real miraculous moment for me. Like it was, I started crying before it became my turn. Like I think everybody thought I was crazy in the room because I'm like bawling away. Like by the time it got to me, I was like, like I was just like this sniveling bundle.
Quiver lipping, like
yeah. So
that's crazy.
Anyway, I think that's where I'm going with my answer, and I'm gonna leave it there because there's other examples, but that was really one that for me was a game changer.
How's young Gabriel doing?
He's doing good. He's probably buying a Harley Davidson today and a wedding ring. And a wedding ring. Don't tell.
I won't tell anybody. Look, oh
I was
God.
like, I told him, I said, you're buying the wedding ring because you want the Harley.
Hey, secretly, without anybody knowing, congratulations, Gabriel. Love you, bro. Don't tell anybody though, man. Look, I'm right there with you. I'm doing crazy things today too, man. I got wedding rings and things, man. It's just kind of crazy. It's that season. It's the season.
That's a song, man. Wedding rings and lots of things.
Wedding rings and things, man. Staying clean. All right, cool. So here's your question. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
How do you keep faith strong in life when life doesn't go your way, man?
How do I keep faith strong when life doesn't go my way? I would say that I pray now. And I didn't before. But when it's not like keeping my faith strong, what I'm realizing is that when life's not going my way, I'm not surrendering. Like I'm actually consciously waking up to it much earlier than I did before. I can still spiral, but it's like now mid spiral, I'm like, hey, this is actually me not surrendering. Like I'm watching that and I'm watching it go, and then I'm kind of like, okay, how about you just go then?
Just go, motherfucker, get out of
here. Just go. Like what? I don't need to hold on to that because it's taken me a terrible place.
And you that's used to be stuck in that bubble. Now you're just watching it from a third person.
I'm telling you too, if I'm sitting at my kitchen table, there's like 3 pieces of paper going in that Harry God box faster than you ever seen someone write.
I told you I got my look. I got my Harry God box, bro. Yeah. It's like a crazy. I can't even get into it. It's awesome.
And that's the thing is, my friend was like, oh, I loved reading mine after 6 months. And I'm like, never going to do it. I don't ever want that stuff back.
Yeah, those are reservations.
Yeah,
what do you want that for?
I'm like, I don't ever want to see it.
What do you want to throw that in the pan for? Why do you want to throw that in the pan for breakfast?
I don't want to bring that back. It's like like smelling my old socks. Is this clean? Is this sock clean?
No. Yeah. Do I want to wear? Look, I'm gonna wear these underwear. Are they clean? No, you ain't doing that. You ain't doing that today, man. Ain't doing that today, man.
Okay, you got to answer this one.
All right. So, I go back to the basics. You hit on that was my first answer. Prayer. I pray. I pray, push, PUSH, pray until something happens or something stops happening, whatever that is. I go to meetings. I slay these meetings, man. I have the ultimate, all-time quarterback quarter. Like I can go to any meeting and be in that meeting, right? I'm not going to leave because I don't like the meeting. I'm going to put my influence on it. If I don't think it's maybe got the right energy that I want, I'm gonna stay there and I'm gonna put my energy into it. That's faith in this process and in this 12-step fellowship, man. It's not about me anymore. It's not about riding my wave anymore, Milan. Got to out surrender this thing. I'm not trying to improve myself. I'm going to improve myself if I do this step work and I work these things and I get clean. That's going to happen, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to stay alive. I'm here to stay spiritually tapped in and into something bigger than myself. And that's this community connection, step work, staying connected to my community. Got to, if I'm connected with y'all are going to keep me accountable on a day-to-day basis. You know, I put a lot of time and effort into the people and into this program and into my home group members and my fellow addicts, you being one of them. And you've put a lot of time and effort into me. And what that does is it keeps me accountable, makes me show up. You know what I mean? Like I've put a lot of time and stock and effort into you and my friends in this program, just like y'all have done me. So I cannot let you down. Why am I gonna work so hard to get to this point and then let you down? You know what I mean? Y'all prayed me into these rooms. I wouldn't be here if the predecessors didn't pray me into these rooms, right? So the ultimate thanks to them for giving me my life back, for praying me here, for taking the time praying in and out of these meetings to pray me in here, man. Millions and millions and millions of prayers had to go out into the universe for me to get scooped up. You know, because I was burdened. I was heavy with it. So I knew it took a couple of those prayers to scoop me in here. So I'm at this point where I got to stay faithful in myself now, because I've been doing pretty well for a little while. So now I have faith in myself, because everything that y'all said when I got here, man, has come true. All these little things that y'all told me, let me love you till you love yourself. You know, we'll give you all these things. You know, it's just suggestions. They're really subtle commands, but they are just suggestions. The only suggestions we pay for are the ones we don't take. But you know, I had to be faithful. And at first that was blind faith. It was blind faith at first. I just had to have faith that y'all were going to keep me alive on a day-to-day basis, and not y'all keeping me alive, but I had to have faith that if I showed up, I was going to stay clean and not go back to that old way of life, man. Because I didn't want to die. I didn't want to die now that I'm getting clean. And when I was in active addiction, I just didn't want to feel like I was going to die, even though I knew I wasn't. It's like that. What is it? The definition of insanity, Milan, is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And I think somewhere in our literature, it might, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but it's in one of our JFTs where it says that, like, our definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over, knowing the results are going to be the same. Not even we're so crazy that we're not even expecting it to be the same. You with me? Like we're not even expecting the outcome to be any different than it was last time, even though we were screwed last time, and we do it anyways. That's how strong the pull of this disease is. That's how strong it is, that it will get us to go on the brink of death using a substance that somebody put together in their basement that we don't know the chemicals in it, but we're going to shove it up our nose or do it. And even though last time we almost died, we're going to do it again. What the fuck is wrong with us? What's wrong with us? So when I was able to get rid of that obsession of, like, it doesn't matter whose money I take or who I fuck over or who I do anything to, as long as I get the drugs, when I was able to release that, the tension of that hold, that's a hold on our lives. That's a hold on my soul. It's like a hold on everything that I am. I was able to literally be almost like reborn again, because I don't have that shit weighing me down. I don't have to feed the beast before I feed Andrew in the morning, right? Mikey talks about that. You don't got to feed the beast before I feed Mikey in the morning. That's a special thing, man. And if nothing else, lean into that. Call it spirituality, call it your God. I mean, if you're getting off drugs, get off drugs. GOD, group of drug addicts, get off drugs. Great outdoors, the gift of desperation. Call it what you want, man. As long as it ain't you.
As long as it ain't you.
That's it, man.
I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Ooh, to live in faith is to step forward even when the path is unclear, trusting that the next stone will rise to meet your foot. What helps you keep moving forward when you can't see the full picture?
So we talked about earlier, trust in the process. You know, even when shit hits my face. So this thing is so special, bro. This is such a layered program, because we come in here, we have steps, and then we get a sponsor, and we get a home group. You know, make 90 meetings in 90 days. We have all these suggestions that they say, and the rest will work itself out, right? And when you make meetings and you're of service and you do all these things, you see everybody living this way of life every day, and they come correct, and they come consistently every day that way, right? Whether, you know, me with the love, you come to a meeting that I'm at, I'm throwing that love around like it's going out of style. You know, that's my role. That's what has got me here. So that's what I give out like crazy because y'all threw it on me and made me realize that I am a loving person. I do know what love is. Now my job is to give that shit out. But I trusted the process because everything that y'all were saying and the way y'all were showing up, like the audio matched the video, right? The audio matched the video. Like the shoes matched the walk. When y'all came in the next day, you picked up that key tag that you said that you were working towards every single day, right? You came through with results. Like my mother was at my 3-year anniversary thing that we had the other night. Like that shows that I'm doing the right things, man. My mother's here who I have been and it eats me alive to know how much I've hurt her. But her unconditional love for me, which has always been there, I've never been able to tap into it. I can tap into my mother's unconditional love for me, which is why I'm able to love the way I am today. I'm not just doing it because I'm just saying it more than everybody else. That's not why I'm a very loving person, because I say it more than everybody else. No, I mean that shit. When I say I love you, you know that I mean it. And if you're not feeling, if I'm not feeling that you're mean, I'm gonna say it again, maybe in a different way, or show you love in a different way. Because that's what fuels me today, man. Because I did trust the process. Y'all literally sat me down and showed me a new way to live. And you said, look, man, any addict, which includes me, can stop using drugs. I was sign me up, man. I was signed in blood there. If it was a cold, I was ready to go. If you can get me off drugs, nothing could before now. Let's go. But then you can tell me that I can stop using, lose the desire to use. So not only stop, I can lose this desire that I wanted, because I wanted to use drugs all day, Milan. And you're telling me I can have the desire go away, and then not only that, bro, we can find a new way to live. One day at a time. And I thought y'all were full of shit. I thought y'all were lying to me. I thought that like my people around me that got me into these rooms had something to do with what y'all were telling me. But there were no angles, man. There's no angles here. There's no angles. We're just trying to stay clean one day at a time. Some of us are a little farther along than others. Some of us are sicker than others. You got to remember that, because you come into some meetings and there's just a bunch of wonky shit going on. Try to hear the message there. It might not feel special the whole time, but try to feel that message and lean into that faith and lean into those good feelings. And when your hair raises up on the back of your neck, like take that person's number. Maybe reach out to that person. I don't even know if I answered the question.
It doesn't even matter. Let's just put it right there. To live in faith is to step forward even when the path is unclear, trusting that the next stone will rise to meet your foot. What helps you keep moving forward when you can't see the full picture? Honestly, it is the faith that has occurred as a result of doing these steps. They say, as a result of doing these steps, I, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of doing these steps, I'm not saying I'm woke. I ain't saying that. I'm saying that you've woken the dragon, though. And the dragon's trying to fly to the sky. Like 100%. There's
wings.
That's right. Look at me go. I'm the phoenix, man. I am the phoenix. I am reborn. I'm me reborn too. From who? That's right, you are. You damn well are. You know it, man. We were a couple dirty, disheveled motherfuckers squidging our way through life. And
now
that's
look at us.
I know. We're actually trying to spread enough love to keep people alive. And that's, anybody out there, we're really grateful you're here. You can find me through Facebook or whatever. You ever need a phone call? I'm here, I'm not hiding from the world, and I'm not hiding that I'm here for anybody who's still suffering.
We are accessible. If you're looking for recovery, guys, we are extremely accessible.
Other than that, we can point you in the right direction, man or woman. Like if you're a woman and you're calling, we're going to put you on to a friend who's a girl. I know some powerful ladies who've had this program.
Yes.
Who are just looking to help people like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what helps me keep moving forward when I can't see the full picture is 100% that this program works. Man, I know I'm not craving drugs anymore. I know who I am and what my problems are. I know what I need to surrender on a daily basis. I know who I'm hurting and how to make an amends to them now. I know how to bring a little peace into my life through that meditation and prayer. And I certainly know how to get out of myself by helping other people now. You know, like, uh, really, what more do I need to know? You know, like,
That's beautiful, man.
I don't really need to know anymore today. And I'm
That's
leaving that.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
If I was
Um,
Mikey right now, there would be,
it would be
um,
like dum 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 and just walk off. Or like, oh, I gotta ask you this after the podcast. But the one where you dropped the mic on me, I went to go watch that one the other day, and it's not on the stream.
what?
Like episode 81 is not on the stream in some of the ones, and then when you go to it on the other ones, like on Podbean or whatever, it's like episode 91 from Scotty and Iceman, and it's like a repeat. I'm like, I can't find it because I wanted to watch that one the other day. We'll get up after. We'll
Yeah.
look at it and try to find it.
I
couldn't
have
find
them
it.
all on record. So if the filing system with the distribution company is messed up, we can fix
Number
that.
81, episode 81 is not there.
Okay.
So yeah, but because you dropped the mic and you took a drink and then I'm like, you just dropped the mic on me. And I'm like, remember? I was like, I felt disrespected. I laughed so hard when you did that to me, man. You're like, yeah, I just dropped the mic and I walked off. I don't even know why I said that, but am I asking you a question? I have no idea where we're at.
Yeah, you're asking me a question now.
Okay, cool. So wow.
How am I?
I got what's one thing you're willing to turn over to your higher power today?
Man, first of all, my addiction. Second of all, as much of my will as I can let go of. You know, like I certainly try. I actually pray for the amount that I can turn over every day because it actually is growing. So, you know, that's where I'm at. That's a quick answer on that. That's
Okay.
you know, there's
Cool.
nothing
Yeah,
more.
it's almost like a quasi
Lightning round.
lightning round, like leading into light round because we've been doing this so long. We already know what time it is. So today, look, I'm willing to turn over my need to control things, man, to control outcomes. You know, a lot of times I'll try to control outcomes through silence, which is not a good thing. And so that's kind of one of the things I'm really, really working on today and have been here recently. So as it sits today, trying to control outcomes, especially through silence. You know, I get caught up in trying to figure everything out, you know, how people see me and how things will turn out. To sometimes I'll just shut down and not have dialogue. And then sometimes I over dialogue. You know, I just like, I can't find a happy median in there. But when I'm in these meetings and I'm talking to fellow addicts and we're on the up and up, man, it's everything seems to roll naturally, right? The conversations seem to roll naturally. And if I run into somebody I don't fancy too much, right, I just reroute. You know what I mean? I don't sit in that shitty diaper in that uncomfortable spot. I just go somewhere else. You know, I move. You know, I shake it up a little bit. You know, got to stay moving, or this disease will catch up with you. As long as I'm staying moving, my sponsor tells me the disease cannot hit a moving target. So we got to stay moving. Got to stay enthusiastic about my approach. If I'm staying enthusiastic, he also tells me enthusiasm is like the common cold. You got to be like in the same room as it and subjected to it to be able to keep the common cold. It's like if we get rid of that common cold, aka recovery, the disease is going to catch back up with us. You know, so remaining faithful and knowing that, like, as long as I stay tapped into my community, my program, the God of my understanding, my sponsor, my family, and I stay clean and I stay working these steps, man. The step work is so important, man. The step work, look, talk about faith. If you don't have faith, do the steps. Work the steps, please. You know, you get through step 3 and you're going to have some faith. I know that for a fact. You get through step 4 and 5, you'll have even more faith. Get through 6 and 7, you are faith. You are faith. You don't have to define it or try to push it anymore. You just know that what you're doing is keeping you faithful. And you know that faith is necessary, man. You know, it's like peace. Peace is not one of those things that we just kind of come at. Like, peace is absolutely necessary. It's not like, hey, you might have it. We need peace. We need peace to be able to have a spot of reflection, to be able to quiet that sound and that voices in the back of our head so we can reflect on our process and move forward, man, in a loving, healthy way. I'm done.
I love you.
I love you.
Faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to act in the presence of it. How do you lean on faith when fear or doubt begins to take hold, Andrew?
Well, do I F everything and run, or do I face everything and recover? That's the question. When fear hits my doorstep, what do I do? I also heard that fear is also just an acronym for false evidence appearing real. There's my microscopic memory coming out here. It's starting to flash at me. So look, I don't run from fear, man. Look, when faith answers the door, so like let's say I'm sitting at my door right now, and then my door's knocking, and fear's sitting at it. I look out there, man. If I can have a little faith in my house to go answer that door, when faith answers, like, fear is nowhere to be found, man. Fear is not even at the door anymore. You know what I mean? Like faith is so much more powerful than fear. Fear used to cripple me, and fear doesn't stop death. Like fear and pain doesn't stop death from happening. Like we're gonna die one day, but it stops life. Like if you're fearful of something, you're not doing something because you're fearful of it, it's stopping your life from moving forward. Right. So let's not let fear stop us from getting to that final destination that we're looking for. That final resting place that we want to be at. And don't be afraid. Like if you're clean and you're living this program and you're doing the right shit and you're maintaining that upward trajectory, please lean into your decisions, whether it comes out that they're wrong or right, because they're happening to you for a reason. If you're staying tapped into that God of your understanding, and you're knowing that you're out surrendering this thing, and you're turning over that wheel every morning He gives it to you on that scrambled eggs and toast plate, like you give it back every day, you can be confident that what you're doing is the right thing, even if somebody comes at you sideways about it. I've made decisions before where somebody comes at me like it's the end of the world, and then instead of me completely changing up my decision because of how errantly they were acting towards me, I was able to filter this program around it and come back at them and teach them something. Teach them something. But a lot of times I used to find myself, when somebody around me would act a certain way, I would think it was facts, or like the truth, and everything was right. So I would change everything up because a good friend of mine was acting like a crazy man, and I have to act like that too. No, we are all individuals, man. Be you. Like, be you. Let everyone else be them. Because we can't do anything for anybody else. I can only lead you to water, right? I can't make you drink the water. But I can make you thirsty. I can show you how good that fucking water is, right? I can show you how good that it is, and how good I'm doing, but I can make you real thirsty.
I can make you thirsty.
I can show you the path and make you super, super thirsty. But that's all I can do. I'll pass that.
Woo, I like that. I can make you thirsty. Faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to act in the presence of it. How do you lean on faith when fear or doubt begins to take hold? That was a big part of my recent revelations and my current journey, really. Like, surrender, I wasn't surrendering my anger. And anger really is a manifestation of fear. And quite honestly, anxiety, there's a million different sides of my fear. I think, what does it say in the AA big book, like 100 forms of fear made us act this way. Like, there's fear can be so neatly sewn up underneath all kinds of defects and shortcomings. Like, really, they're all fear. They're 100%. Nope. And my daughter used to say to me, "Oh, Daddy, you're so brave. You're not scared of anything." And I always said, I'm scared of everything. I just don't let fear rule me. And so now what I'm really trying to do inside myself is, I'm trying to pray for the gratitude that these things are taken away, even when I'm still experiencing them. That infinitesimal, fractional, tiny little bit of faith that I have, that I'm making it through, that grows. And I'm giving gratitude for the growth of that in my life, and for my coping abilities that I've been granted, and for the love that I'm experiencing instead of my fear and my anger. Like, I'm praying away my anger and fear with love.
Love right that. There. I love that. Right did you just strum me out?
I made a little.
You just did a strum out. You just strummed out. You disrespected me on the faith episode. I'm just kidding. That was awesome. That was beautiful.
I would say it's the final note.
Ended it. You're like, brum, and I just like fell asleep. So look, hey, faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. What do you think about that? I'm throwing off a couple zingers to you. Look, hope is like the sun, which as a journey towards it, we cast a shadow of the burden behind us. And look, this is my next question for you, but it's one of those quote questions. You'll like this.
I will.
Or actually, that's not the one. Yeah, actually, it is. Faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation. What do you think about that?
Belief without proof, but trust without. Ooh. Okay. I want to argue that it's both.
Okay.
Because I do feel, faith to me, I've said this before on shows, and anybody out there who's kind of a mathematical brain person who might have a hard time wrapping their heads around concepts that are intangible, belief without.
Faith is not belief without proof, but trust without reservation.
Okay. So think about the first time you worked with geometry in grade school. You're like probably somewhere between grade 3 to grade 6, depending on what school system you're in. You are not capable of proving Pythagoras' theorem. You're not capable of proving pi. Yet they give you these concepts, and you're able to take that and plug in numbers and answer questions on this. And actually, do the fundamental geometry required for most construction without any proof. And math was a lot like that. Math had it where here's the method. We'll show you how it works later. You have to believe for a certain amount of time in order to even build enough intelligence in that area and to understand the fundamental concepts. And very much faith is like that. Faith for me is just saying, hey, I don't care how surrender works. It's working. Like, I really have to just pull back like that and be like, and why are my hands up? Because I'm surrendering. I'm like, whoa, hey, guess what? You can have it. You can have it because I don't want it anymore. Because when I have it, it hurts. When I have it, it hurts. Or I'm hurting me. Or I'm hurting you, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So look, and I love your answer, but where my head goes is like there has to be some it's not as rigid as I think so mathematics, like you're talking about, like that's pretty cookie cutter, like you can cut numbers in, you can put numbers in, and you're going to get an outcome. Faith has to be some of that. There has to be some of that blind faith, man, some of that blind faith, some of that.
But that's the belief without proof. That right there is belief. Like literally, I believe in surrender. Like I took the step of surrendering, right? Before I believed in any higher power, and something worked.
Yeah, but it's
my belief was there before the proof. My belief was there before the proof.
But it's trust in knowing that you have faith that you're going to grow too. That can't just be what it is. There has to be more on the other side of that too. It's not just.
I'm not saying it stops there.
So
but I'm saying it's both.
Yeah. Well, okay. And so obviously you're right. I'm right. We're all right. Nobody's wrong. Look, this is so the way I think about it is we walk by faith, not by sight. Mm-hmm. You with me? We walk by faith, not by sight. Taking that first step without seeing the whole staircase because y'all told me that it was going to work. That's new for me. It's new for me, right? And so blind faith is something that what do you seen those videos where it's like a trust fall, like somebody's sitting up and then they do that trust fall where you just fall back and you trust that your friends are going to keep you up.
Yeah,
that's how I felt when I came here. Like it's like my life. I'm trust falling with my life into this thing, man. But when I fell, bro, I was picked up, man. Y'all kept me up, and so that showed me y'all weren't lying. That y'all were not full of shit when I came in here. That y'all were actually saying what y'all meant and meant what you're saying. And that when you come on here, honestly, when the hairs stand up on the back of my neck, it's not because I'm feeling uncomfortable. It's because that's where I needed to be the whole time.
There is not a point of this program where when I've thoroughly followed the path they've shown me, it is not proven to be true. There's
Yeah.
not a single point of this
Yeah.
program. And some people are like, oh no, it didn't work for me. And I'm like, I will debate on whether you thoroughly
You
followed the
didn't
path.
work it. Didn't work it. Yeah. I know people that don't have like a higher power and they say, I've worked the steps and it didn't do shit for me. And it's not. And I'm like, well, A, you don't have a God, you don't have a higher power. So you're done there already. You're just done, completely done. And I bet the steps didn't work for you because you didn't even work them. Probably you don't even have a higher power. Come on, man. What are you going to fight this thing for? You've been fighting shit your whole life. Come on. Hop on board. You've been anti your whole life. Hop on board. Right. So, and I'm going to leave you with this because we're about done, aren't we?
We are going to do a quick lightning round after this.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to hold my last little quotation until then.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me set up the timer and we're going to enter El Lightningo Roundo.
I only have one more question, though.
I got a few. We'll just go fast. We might not even take the full minute. Sometimes we're just like, okay, Andrew, here we go.
Yep.
In community, our faith is strengthened by witnessing the transformation of others. We begin to believe because we see it is possible. Whose story helped build your belief that recovery could work for you too?
Wow, that's a great question. When I first came in here, I was in a home group, local home group. This gentleman, I'll throw his name out there because he's really dope. I love this guy. His name is Rossi, man. This dude used to ride down the road reading the 12 traditions, not even looking at his screen while driving an 18-wheeler down the road. Like every day, he'd be reading the 12 traditions, and like he would glance over at his phone just to show face on the phone. But I'm like, this dude is a savage. This dude is crazy. And he was a real charismatic dude. Like he had everything I wanted in terms of like a man, how he handled himself. He was the first dude I asked to be my sponsor. He actually said no because he hadn't worked through the 12 steps. Taught me a lot, man. Taught me a lot. I got my butt hurt and I was crying. I almost didn't go back to that meeting because like I thought something was wrong with me. But looking back at it, I have said no to people because of that same thing where I'm like, hey, bro, I have not worked all the 12 steps earlier on in my recovery. And I haven't worked 12 steps, so I can't physically do that. He taught me that, man. He, that blind faith of like, he did that for a reason. I'm not an asshole. I'm going to stay here anyways,
Whose story helped me build belief that recovery could work for me too? Well, there was a guy who actually has been on this podcast before, Adam Preston. He was a support worker at the recovery center. He was a musician. He had a family, managed to not lose his family, and managed to still play music in his recovery. And I realized, okay, this is somebody who has very much the same interests as me, definitely had his life down the toilet like I did. And here he is helping other addicts, staying alive, playing shows straight, having a great family life. He really was one of my mentors and guiding lights. Okay, you ask a question.
Yes, sir. So what are some small acts of faith you practice daily, Milan?
Small acts of faith I practice daily. Oh gosh, well, like right every single morning I'm pretty much doing some kind of form of prayer. I'm doing my gratitudes. And I'm helping other people. Like I'm contacting people every single day and just trying to stay in connection with it. I forgot to push the timer, but I'm done anyway, and that's
okay. That's all right. We're on schedule. So what are some small acts of faith that I practice daily? Well, every morning I hit my knees, man. I hit my knees and I pray that my self will back because he wakes me up not in a jail cell or under a bridge and in my car. He wakes me up in my bed. And in the right mind frame, knowing why that alarm clock went off. So I pray it right back to him because it worked the day before, right? And I got to stay consistent, and I won't fall under that spell of complacency because we all know complacency kills. When dealing with complacency, what do we do, Milan?
Complace your ass in the seat.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
I don't even know.
As faith matures, it shifts from asking, why me, to trusting there is meaning in even the most difficult moments. How has your understanding of life's challenges changed through growing in faith?
Faith was a lost commodity when I got here. When I found it, I'm able to be more optimistic about my endeavors, man. I'm able to be more consistent as I approach anything because I'm understanding that I came into this thing faithful. Faith got me to where I was to be able to, be able to be consistent. And I think that, that's the biggest thing. Faith is the foundation of everything. Faith is the foundation of everything. And I think that, that's the biggest thing. Faith is the foundation of everything. And I think that, that's the biggest thing. Faith got me to where I was to be able to to be able to even be in this position to make a decision on this thing. And then faith's going to take me through it, around it, through it, and over it. So as long as I'm staying faithful, tapped into him, even if I make the wrong decision, I say this all the time, man, you're making mistakes, you're trying something new. So with that being said, we'll pass that to you, Milan. What is your answer to that question? Or is it my turn to?
Nope. How has my understanding of life's challenges changed through growing in faith?
Yep.
It's totally changed. Like, I used to be the prince of the pity party, a precociously placed prince of the pity party. I was like, please, it's all like everything's happening to me, and now I'm able, through my faith, to pray for my gratitude that I can make it through these challenges, that I have this growing strength to get through these challenges, that I have this opportunity to learn something here. Whereas before, I just was poor me. It was a never-ending tragedy, and now
that was me, man.
And now it's a never-ending opportunity to grow.
So that was a great answer. What's the question again?
No. So now you ask a question if you've got one. If you don't, I have one more.
I have this. So look, this is another one of my quotes. And then I'm asking your thoughts. So believe you can, and you're halfway there. What do you think about that, man?
I think 100%. That's kind of the very basis of faith is belief. And if, it's like actualization, it's like affirmations, it's like gratitude. That belief is that positive intention. You didn't say believe you can't. If you had said something negative, I would have a different answer. But you said something positive, and therefore we're also putting ourselves in a place of gratitude. And with the gratitude attitude, fear ain't ruling our day. Done.
Ooh, attitude of gratitude. Look, a grateful addict doesn't use, in this quote, it encourages self-belief and emphasizes that a positive mindset is essential if you want to achieve anything new. And we're trying to do everything new here, man. It's a short, powerful reminder that confidence is a crucial step to the first step to this process. You surrender. We got to out-surrender this thing. It's way easier to out-surrender this thing than to work on yourself every day on all those things you think are wrong with yourself. This is a program of surrender, not self-improvement. Got to remember that. Love you, Tom. And I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Faith, like recovery, is a practice, not a destination, but a daily decision to trust in something beyond ourselves. What does practicing faith look like for you today?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like what we're doing right here, man. Faith in the process. When I came in here, y'all said, shut the fuck up, listen, take the cotton out of your mouth and put it in your ears, or the other way around, excuse me, because I wanted to run my mouth when I got here. And they told me, look, if we want to know how to use, bro, we're going to ask you. Other than that, shut the hell up and listen, and get a guide. Get some new contacts and lean into your contacts and don't do drugs. And come back with just for today, and that's what I did, man. I did that for 3 years plus now, so I have y'all to thank for that. Faithful, always.
Woo. What does practicing faith look like for me today? It definitely looks like me acknowledging that I don't know it all. I may not act correctly all the time, that I can be sorry, that I've got more to surrender, that there's further to go inside this journey, and that I'm not as afraid. Today I really have much more actions out of faith than I did before. And my actions were entirely fear before. And when I catch myself coming from that motivation of fear, I can rewind and either make amends or just try to re-surrender that situation myself. Because you know what? Today I'm a different man than I was even 6 weeks ago. And I have faith in that.
I have faith in you, man. I have faith in us.
I
man.
love
I'm
you, brother.
Proud of us, man. That was great. It's fun. A lot of fun.
This was a great episode. And to everybody out there, tune in next episode for more recovery fun. We love you. Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.